You ever meet a girl and everything feels like it's lining up? She's laughing at your jokes, she's texting back, you're hanging out, and there's real momentum. And you're not even doing that thing where you imagine your whole future together. You're just thinking, okay, I'm not crazy. This is real. This is chemistry. Then out of nowhere, she hits you with one of these lines that instantly changes your brain chemistry. You're such a good friend to me. You're like a brother to me. I just don't want to ruin what we have. And you try to play it cool. You laugh. You say, yeah, I get it. But later, you're staring at your ceiling like, how did I even get here? Because the friend zone doesn't feel like getting rejected. Rejection is clean. Rejection hurts. But at least it's honest. The friend zone is different. The friend zone feels like you're slowly being erased while you're still standing right there. You didn't get told no. You got told, I like you. Just not like that. And if you ever heard that line, you know how confusing it is. Not because you feel entitled, not because you're angry, but because you really thought you were building something real. You're texting her, you're showing up, you're being consistent, you're trying to be the kind of man people always say women want. And then one day, she says the words that quietly change your role in her life. But what makes it worse is she still talks to you, but now it's different. Now you're the guy she vents to, the guy she asks for advice, the guy she trusts, while she gives her attraction to somebody else. That's a special kind of pain. So that's happening to you. I'm not making this video to roast you. I'm making it because most guys don't get friend zoned in one moment. They get reclassified. And it happens due to a specific behavior. Behaviors that look like love but feel like weakness. Behaviors that feel like effort but come off as desperation. Patterns that slowly remove tension until all that's left is comfort. And comfort is beautiful. Comfort really matters. But comfort without romance becomes friendship. So in this video, I'm going to break down the fastest behaviors that turn you into just a friend, with real life examples and what to do instead, without turning into a weird, bitter person. Because if this keeps happening to you, it's not bad luck. It's a pattern. And the good news is that patterns can be changed. The friend zone isn't rejection, it's getting erased slowly. This is the first pattern. Giving boyfriend energy before she has earned girlfriend access. The fastest way to become just a friend is giving boyfriend energy before she has earned girlfriend access. A lot of good dudes get trapped here because they're not trying to manipulate anyone. They're not trying to run game. They're just trying to be solid. They're trying to show real effort and by being consistent. But when you give girlfriend level treatment before she is truly invested, what you're already telling her is, I am yours already. And once someone feels like they already have you, the chase dies. The mystery dies. The urgency goes away. The question of does he have options dies. And here's a real example. I knew a guy, we'll call him Chris. He meets a girl in class, she's pretty, funny, and seems interested, but within a week, he is doing the full package. Good morning text every day, did you eat, are you okay, I'm always here, walking her to her car and checking on her mood constantly. From the outside, it looks like, wow, he is such a good guy. But from her perspective, it starts feeling like real pressure. Like, why is he acting like my boyfriend when we're not even dating? So she doesn't hate him, she just doesn't think he's a bad person. She just slides him into a safe category. The comfort category, the emotional support category. And that's the thing most guys don't understand. Over-investing early isn't love, it's fear. Fear that if you don't lock it down fast, you will lose her. So you start acting like her man before she even decided if she wants you. So what should you do instead? You should match her energy. You match the investment. You should be warm and respectful, but you don't pour your heart into someone who has not even proven they care about you. You stop giving relationship benefits to someone who hasn't earned relationship access, because that's not being nice, that's self-abandonment. Over-investing early isn't love, it's fear. Number 2, being too available. Second pattern. I know this sounds small, but it changes how she sees you. Because when you're always available, what you're really saying is, I don't have anything more important than you. And I'm not saying she can't matter to you. I'm saying your life just has to have weight. So for example, she texts you late at night, what are you doing? If your answer is always nothing, not because you're lying, but because it's true, you're basically telling her your life is empty space that she can step into whenever she wants. At first, she might like it. The attention feels good. She feels desired. She feels important. But over time, your value drops because you don't feel like a man with motion. You feel like a seat that's always open. And women don't respect a man who doesn't respect his own time. Not because they're mean, because time is your life. If you give it away instantly, it communicates you don't have much going on. A lot of guys become too available because they're lonely. So when a girl finally gives them attention, they grip to it like it's oxygen. But gripping is how you lose it. So, what should you do instead? You build a schedule that exists without her: gym, work, school, music, a skill, a mission, something. Your life should feel like a moving train, not a chair next to your phone. You're not ignoring her, you're not being cold, you're just not folding instantly. You respond when you can, you set plans, and you keep your life moving. If your life is a chair next to your phone, you're always going to get friend zoned. Number 3, texting all day but saying nothing. This one is brutal because it feels like you're doing everything right. You think, if I keep talking to her, we'll stay close. But what you're actually doing is turning your connection into background noise. And here's a real example. If your texts are a constant, but they're filler, like, what are you doing? Lol, that's crazy. Good morning, good night, how's your day? Every single day. It's not that these texts are evil. It's that they create a dynamic that feels like a friendship. Friends text like that. Friends fill empty space. Friends do constant updates. Romance is different. Romance needs tension and rhythm, and guys who text all day because they're anxious, it doesn't really work. They don't want the connection to die, so they keep touching it. But if you have to constantly poke the connection to keep it alive, it's not alive. It's being artificially kept alive. So what should you do instead? You should text with attention. You should always be setting plans, creating moments. You say something in personality, and then you step back, because constant texting doesn't create closeness. It creates familiarity. Just familiarity without flirt always becomes just a friend. Number 4, never leading the hanging out trap. This is where a lot of guys lose the game without even realizing there was a game, because they never set the tone. They keep it vague, they keep it safe, they keep it friendly, so they don't get rejected. So instead of dates, they do hangouts, and hangouts are friendship builders. And here's an example. You say, we should hang out sometime, and she says, yeah. You say, what do you want to do? And of course she says, I don't know, lol. You say, whatever you want. Now you're walking around Target at 8 p.m. or sitting in your car talking for 2 hours, or grabbing food casually, and you might think, but we spent time together, we talked, we connected. Yeah, just like friends. If you want romance, you need direction. A date doesn't even have to be fancy. It just has to be framed like a date. What do you do instead? You lead in a simple way: time, place, and plan. Let's go to the spot of Friday at 7. If she's interested, she'll say yes. If she's not, she'll dodge. But at least you're not stuck in that slow emotional depth of hanging out forever. If you never call it a date, don't be surprised when it becomes a friendship. Number 5, and I see this a lot, becoming her therapist. This one might hit the hardest because being there for someone feels like love, and in a way, it is love, but it's not romance. She starts venting to you about her life, her ex, her stress, her insecurities, and you're the guy who listens. You respond with paragraphs, you give advice, you show up emotionally, you're always hurting, and she appreciates you deeply, but then she goes on dates with a guy who barely even knows her. And you're sitting there like, how does that even make sense? It makes sense because you've become her comfort place, not her desire. A lot of guys become therapists because they're trying to earn love. They think, if I show her I'm safe, she'll choose me. But safety alone doesn't create attraction. Safety just creates trust, and trust is important, trust is beautiful, but it's also what friends provide. So what should you do instead? You need to keep a balance. You can be supportive, but you don't live there. If every conversation is her pain and you rescuing her, you're building a dynamic that isn't romantic. Add lightness, add play, add some flirt. And if she only contacts you when she's sad, be honest with yourself. You're being used as an emotional support. Being her therapist makes you valuable, but not attractive. Complimenting like a fan. A lot of guys don't even realize this, but the way you compliment a girl can either create attraction or quietly put you in the sweet friend category. Because there are 2 types of compliments. There are the grounded compliments that feel confident, and there are the fan compliments that feel like you're beneath her. Fan compliments sound romantic in your head, but they land like insecurity in real life. They sound like, you're perfect. I don't deserve you. You're actually the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. I can't believe you even talked to me. You're so out of my league. And listen, I get why guys do this. I've done it before too. It comes from that place where you're thinking, if she knows how much I value her, she'll stay. But the truth is, when you compliment like a fan, you're not communicating confidence. You're just communicating fear. You're communicating where you're trying to lock in with her with words, because deep down, you're scared that you're not enough without them. And when a girl senses that, She doesn't always get turned off immediately, sometimes she just relaxes. She stops feeling tension because she already knows you're sold. And that's the danger. When you make it too obvious, you're already hooked. She doesn't feel the pull to chase. She doesn't feel the curiosity, and she doesn't feel like she has to earn anything. Here's a real example. You tell a girl she's the most perfect human ever in the second week of knowing her. She might smile and say, "Aw," but in her head she's thinking, this guy is really easy to read. And when you're too easy to read too early, the vibe starts becoming friendly instead of romantic. The emotional truth is that fan compliments usually come from low self-worth. You're hoping she'll validate you back. You want her to say, "No, you deserve me." You want reassurance. But if you need reassurance from her to feel stable, you're already sliding into friend territory. Because attraction doesn't grow from you worshiping her. Attraction grows when you're calm and centered and you speak like you belong in the room. So what should you do instead? You compliment like a man who's comfortable, short, calm, direct, with no begging. You say things like, "You look good. That outfit fits you. I like your energy. You're funny. I didn't really even expect that. And you have a nice vibe." And you just keep it moving. You don't sit there repeating it 10 times. You don't over explain. You don't make her your whole emotional world. If you compliment her like a fan, she is going to treat you like a fan. Seventh pattern, hiding your intent because you fear rejection. This is the friend zone factory. This is where a lot of dudes get trapped for months or even years because you like her. You want her. You think about her when you're alone. You look forward to seeing her, but you never say anything because you're terrified of messing it up. So you choose a safe route. You become her friend, and you tell her yourself you're building a foundation. But what you're really doing is building a cage, because the longer you stay in the friendship frame, the more she locks you into that frame mentally. Not because she's evil, because people don't magically invent attraction for someone who's been acting like a platonic friend the whole time. You and a girl talk every day, you hang out, you help her with stuff, you're always there, you know her favorite music, her favorite food, her childhood stories. You're basically emotionally intimate, but you never flirt. You never create tension, you never call it a date, and you never make your intentions clear. Then one day, months later, you finally confess. You hit her with a serious conversation, and she looks shocked, like she didn't even know you were thinking that way. And she says the lines of, "I didn't see you like that." And it crushes you. But the truth is, she's not lying. She really didn't. Because you trained her, you taught her how to see you. This is why the friend zone feels so painful. Because you didn't just lose her, you lost time. You lost energy. You lost a version of yourself that was hoping. And the emotional trap is that you stayed quiet because you wanted to avoid rejection. But by avoiding rejection, you walk into a slower, uglier rejection, being reclassified. Here's a real lesson. Being clear early isn't desperation, it's courage. And you don't have to make it dramatic. You don't have to spill your heart out like it's a movie. You can just be direct. "I like you. Let's go out Friday." That's it. If she says yes, you win. If she says no, you're free. But the limbo zone, the friendship zone where you're secretly wanting more, that place will eat you alive over time. It turns good dudes into bitter dudes, and bitterness ruins your future connections. Sometimes you're not friend zoned, you're self zoned. Eighth pattern, pedalizing her and losing your spine. If you treat a girl like she's above you, you will never feel like her equal. And romance doesn't grow in a boss and employee dynamic. Romance grows when there's respect on both sides and you're standing on your own. Pedalizing looks like this. You agree with everything she says. You laugh at everything even when it's not funny. You avoid teasing because you're scared she'll get mad. You apologize too much. You over-explain yourself like you're asking permission to exist. It's like you're trying to be the safest, least offensive version of yourself so she doesn't leave. And women can feel that. They can feel when you're not relaxed. They can feel when you're performing. They can feel when your whole vibe is "please don't be upset with me." And that vibe is not masculine. It's not solid. It doesn't create tension, and it creates a dynamic where she has the power and you're trying to earn her approval. Here's an example. She says she likes a certain artist. You pretend you like them too, even if you don't. She says she hates a certain food, and you act like you hate it too. She says something you disagree with, and you swallow your opinion because you don't want conflict. That might keep things smooth, but it also makes you invisible. It makes you generic, and generic is friend zoned because attraction isn't built. from you being a yes man. Attraction is built from you having a backbone. The emotional truth is pedalizing usually comes from fear again. Fear that if you show your real personality, she'll leave, so you shrink yourself. But you can't build romance by shrinking yourself. So what do you do instead? You treat her like a normal person. You're respectful, but you're not scared. You tease lightly, you challenge lightly, you have opinions, you're willing to disagree, sometimes without being disrespectful. Because confidence isn't loud, confidence is calm. It's being able to be yourself without begging for approval. And a man who respects himself is hard to throw into the just a friend category. If you act like she's above you, she'll treat you like you're below. Ninth pattern, accepting crumbs and rewarding inconsistency. This one is painful, but it's one of the most important. If she gives you crumbs and you keep showing up like it's a feast, you teach her that she doesn't need to respect you. And without respect, you don't get romance, you get convenience. Here's a real example. She cancels last minute and you say, no worries every time. She disappears for 2 days and you respond instantly when she comes back. She only hits you up late at night or when she's bored and you still answer. You still entertain her. You still chase the vibe. And what you're really saying is, you can treat me however you want and I'll stay. Now here's where it gets emotional. A lot of guys do this because they don't want to start over. They've already invested time, energy, hope. They don't want to admit it's not working. So they keep taking crumbs because crumbs feel better than nothing. But crumbs slowly destroy your self-respect. And when you start losing self-respect, you start acting even more desperate. And that desperation pushes you deeper and deeper into the friend zone. This is how guys get trapped. Being the nice supportive friend while she keeps the door half open for attention. And the worst part is the longer you stay, the harder it is to leave because you start tying your identity to her validation. So what should you do instead? You set standards. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to insult her. You don't have to do an alpha performance. You just have to stop rewarding inconsistency. If she cancels consistently, you start rearranging your life. If she disappears, you never chase. If she only hits you up when she's bored, you stop being her entertainment. Because a man who won't accept crumbs becomes rare. And rare is attractive. If you accept crumbs, don't be shocked when she treats you like an option. 10th pattern, creating zero romance, only friendly vibes. This is the final one, and it's the one that sneaks up on you because it doesn't feel like a mistake. It feels like you're being respectful. You're polite, you don't want to come off as creepy, you don't want to pressure her, you don't want to ruin the vibe, so you keep it friendly. But here's the harsh truth. If you keep it friendly long enough, it becomes friendship. You hang out with her multiple times, you talk, you laugh, you connect, but that energy is the same energy you use with your friends. You never flirt, you never tease, you never create tension, you never make it feel like a date. You never let her feel like she's talking to a man who wants her. Then later, you're shocked when she says she doesn't feel that spark. But how could she feel the spark if you never created heat? A lot of guys misunderstand flirting. They think flirting means being sexual or aggressive. It really doesn't. Flirting is just playful tension. It's tone, it's vibe, it's letting her feel that you're not trying to be her buddy. The emotional truth is some guys avoid flirting because they're scared of rejection again. They'd rather be safe and liked than take a risk and be desired. But safe and liked is exactly what friends are. So what should you do instead? You flirt lightly and respectfully, you tease, you compliment calmly, you create small moments where she feels the difference, even something as simple as, you're trouble, I like your vibe, you're different, alright, you're fun, I see you. It's not about lines, it's about energy. And if you never shift your energy out of friendly, don't be surprised when she keeps you in the friendly category. If you treat her like a friend, she'll feel friendship every single time. Now listen, if you've been friendzoned a lot, you might start thinking something is wrong with you, like you're missing some secret. You're not. You're probably doing what a lot of good dudes do. You overinvest because you care. You stay because you hope. You tolerate crumbs because you don't want to lose her. I get it. But you can't build love by shrinking yourself, and you can't build romance by begging to be chosen. So tighten the behaviors. Stop overinvesting early. Stop being available 24/7. Stop texting like a background character. Lead. Be clear. Keep your mission. Have standards, and just add lightness and flirt more. Because the fastest way to become a friend is forgetting you're a man with a life, not a man waiting for approval. And the fastest way to become the guy she actually wants is building something real, standing on her own, and letting the right person meet you there. Never forget who you are.